guys, I have 4 questions to go over from today's lesson. I have 2 questions about reference angles, and then I have 2 questions putting everything together. So coterminal, reference, and quadrant. Okay, so the first question I'm going to do is I want to find the reference angle of 337 degree rotation. So I need to figure out which quadrant does this fall in. If I was to draw a sketch of this angle, it would go in quadrant 4, okay? Because each of the quadrants go up by 90 degrees. This one's 270, and then the full circle is 360. So that means that the angle of 337 degrees falls between 270 and 360. To find the reference angle, I want to know how far away is the terminal side from the x-axis. This is the angle I want to find. In order to find that angle, I'm going to do 360 minus 337. Because 360 is the degree of the x-axis, and 337 is the degree of the angle. So if you type that in your calculator, you find that the answer is 23 degrees. So our reference angle is going to be 23 degrees. All right, let's try this again. Our next example, we have angle of rotation 214 degrees. So that's going to fall in quadrant 3 because it's between 180 and 270. So if I sketch that angle, it's going to go somewhere in this quadrant. And this is 214. Okay, so once again, I want to find the distance from the terminal side to the x-axis. So now I want to find this distance here. So in my calculator, now I'm going to do 214 minus 180. So when you type that in, you get 34 degrees. Notice how this one's different from the previous one. Whenever you're doing a reference angle, you always want to think which quadrant is the angle in, and then where is the terminal side in relationship to the x-axis. So a reference angle is always between 0 and 90. Reference angle is always between 0 and 90 degrees. Okay? So the reason I did 214 minus 180, that's what gave me my angle of 34 degrees. If you would have used 360 minus 214, if you would have tried to find this angle over here, it would have given you an angle way too big. The reference angle always has to be between 0 and 90. So you find the terminal side and then find how far away it is from the x-axis. So this one happened to be 214 minus 180. Okay, so now let's put all of the material from today together. So this next example, I have an angle of rotation 845 degrees. First I need to find what is coterminal with that. So this is a really big angle. I'm going to start by subtracting 360 away from this angle. So that's still too big, 485. I need to subtract 360 again to see if it gives me a number between 0 and 360. So it does. So this is my coterminal angle, 125. This angle falls between 180 and 270. Oh no, I'm sorry, this angle falls between 90 degrees and 180 degrees, which means it is in quadrant 2. So if I sketch my angle really quick, it's here. Oh, that's not a straight line, but that's okay. So this is the angle 125 degrees, and that would be in quadrant 2. The reference angle, I want to find the distance from the terminal side to the x-axis. So I'm looking for my distance between 180 and 125. And that gives you 55 degrees. So the reference angle is 55 degrees. I have one more of these examples. Okay, 440. First thing I need to do is find what is this coterminal with. So 440 minus 360. My coterminal angle is 80 degrees. That falls between 0 and 90. So that's going to put us in the first quadrant. So somewhere here. Okay. And then our reference angle, we want to know the distance from the x-axis to the angle. So this one's easy because it's between 0 and 80. So that distance there is just 80 degrees. So the reference angle for this is 80 degrees.